Well, let's just go ahead and just start with what everyone's talking about in the city, and just kind of your reaction to what unfolded on Sunday, and just the general reaction afterwards by fans, and just kind of your thoughts on what happened.
Yeah, well, I think Mrs. Benson's statement pretty much succinctly put how we feel, and look, it's disappointing not to be playing in the game, the Super Bowl, and I think we'd be disappointed regardless of how that might have happened. So I think enough's been said, really. I feel for our fans, I feel for our coaches and our players, and our staff that works so hard to get ourselves in a position, winning the division, getting the number 1 seed, winning the divisional round playoff game, and be in a position to go to the Super Bowl and then have a disappointing ending is really tough on all those people, including our fans, and man, I feel their pain. I feel it too.
As far as I was going to say, just moving forward, would you like to see any where a situation doesn't happen like that for either you or teams?
Certainly. I think that'll be discussed, and we got a lot of smart people in the league, and they'll review that circumstance, and hopefully we can come up with a solution.
I know that obviously fans are passionate, and this is something, you have a great fan base here, but a lawyer yesterday filed a lawsuit calling it professional wrestling. Do you just want to take a minute to kind of clear up that no conspiracy or things like that?
Yeah, I don't believe in it. There was anything intentional. It just it was missed. That's what I believe.
So, what would you like to see as far as a rule change, as far as including pass interference in the replay?
I'm not that far along yet. I think that it just needs to be discussed again, and I think we have technology and mechanisms that might solve that, but there's always unintended consequences, and so we have to have a long discussion about those as well.
Could you tell us what would be under the umbrella of unintended consequences?
Well, just length of the game, all the things. Look, as I stand here, still reeling from the game, it's hard to think clearly about that, but I think there's some things that can be discussed and hopefully done.
As an organization, is it hard to bounce back, I guess, after it's such a heartbreak, I guess you could say?
Well, it's hard to bounce back, a day later or 2 days later or 3 days later, but we will. Look, we will. We'll put this behind us, and we'll be stronger for it. And look, we still had an opportunity to win the game, and look, to the Rams' credit, they made some plays at the end to win the game. So, they earned their position in the Super Bowl based upon that. But we'll bounce back. I believe in the character of our locker room and our staff, and we'll bounce back from that.
Some field goals kicked in the red zone early. I mean, if those were touchdowns, it would have been different.
Yeah, but listen, we can rehash a lot of that stuff, and there's always the woulda, coulda, all that business. But yeah.
Have you heard from the commissioner? Do you expect to hear from him? Do you think the league should say something about this, or do you think nothing needs to be said because calls are missed in a lot of games?
I don't know that I can answer that. That's up to them, really.
As far as Drew, you expect him back next year, right?
Yeah, I think hadn't he already said that?
Yes,
yeah. So.
I mean, you feel pretty confident, Mickey, that you guys have the pieces in place to make another run at it next year?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a good team and a great staff, and like I said, I really believe in the character of the guys in our locker room and our staff, and I don't see any reason why we can't have another good season.
How comfortable are you at that quarterback position behind Brees?
Yeah, I don't think now is the time to talk about individual positions or individual players. We've got to go through an evaluation process. Our staff will do that over the next couple of weeks, and we'll come up with an off-season plan, and there'll be more appropriate time to talk about that.
Well, I'll ask you with just Teddy Bridgewater, just adding him after that trade. What was he able to
Yeah,
provide this season?
again, I think that's something we'll discuss a little later.
Is there a different approach to the draft, obviously with less picks, or are you still trying to formulate a plan?
I think the process will be the same. We've got to evaluate every player that's available in this draft, and you never know what can happen. We don't have a first-round pick, so we probably have less opportunity to make deals and to change our position. We have less assets to do that, but look, we've got to evaluate them, and that benefits us now, and it also benefit us down the road.
Seeing with the cap situation, do you still think you'll be able to attract some quality veteran players to come join?
Yeah, the salary cap situation isn't going to hamper us from doing the things that we feel are necessary to improve our team.
The fact that you were so close, do you think that maybe helps you recruit some people who are?
Well, I think we've always been a good place in terms of how players view our franchise and view our situation. So I don't see that changing. I think it, maybe gets a little better, but I think we've always been viewed as a good destination.
As far as, I don't know if you have any official comment just on the situation with P.J. Williams and what happened last night.
Yeah, look, we're aware of it. I don't know enough about the details to make any comment. Not that we would anyway, but we're aware of it.
As a leader of the organization, Mickey, when something like this happens on Sunday, what can you do as far as like providing that leadership, and what is your message to the organization moving forward?
Well, I think part of this is that old adage, life's not always fair, and look, we got to pick ourselves up from a tough blow, a tough circumstance, and get ready for next year. That's what we have to do. That's what we're over here for. That's what our scouts are doing right now. I know, when our staff gets back in the office, that's what they'll be doing. They'll be looking forward to next season and how can we put ourselves in a position to get to the Super Bowl. That's all we can do. I think that's the beauty of athletics and sports is that from the time that you're 5 years old and you're playing on your first team, that's what you learn. You're not always going to win. You're going to lose sometimes. You're going to have tough losses sometimes, and you have to find a way to pick yourself up and fight again. That's the beauty of sport in our country.
As far as, not that it's easy to kind of quantify heartbreak or anything like that, but you've been in this league a long time. Is it fair to say that may be the most heartbreaking or tough game you've been through, situation you've been through, or is that even possible?
Probably, yes. I've been through some. That was a tough one.
Still, you have to say 2019 with the players you have coming back and the situation, and you have to feel like success should be not a given, but
nothing's guaranteed. The team will be different. It'll be different, and how different remains to be seen. But look, I just believe in our organization, and I believe in our staff and our players, and I believe we'll bounce back.
Does your approach change at any this week just because of where you're at in terms of just drafting with the weaker picks that you have? Does it change at all? Is there a different approach, or is it pretty much just kind of how it normally is?
No, I think it's pretty much the normal process. I don't think there's anything different in terms of what our staff is doing, what our scouts are doing here. Oftentimes we have our coaching staff here, but because of the length of the season, they aren't here this week. But other than that, I think everything's really the same.
You're a pretty even keel guy. Was it hard to remain even keel about 5 o'clock on Sunday?
Well, I'm not even keel inside. I'm even keel on the outside. I'm not very even keel on the inside. Yes, that's it's hard to it's hard to look. You're in the emotion of the moment. You know how important it is to our coaches and our players who work so hard to get ourselves into that position. How dedicated our fans were, and look, our fans in these last 2 playoff games were unbelievable. They affected the game. Maybe as much as I've ever seen any crowd do that. And so, man, I just feel for them. I feel for, as well as myself, but I feel for them. And when that rug gets pulled out from under you, you got to deal with it, though, right? And look, I know our fans are hurting, and yet I also know they'll be back stronger than ever in this upcoming season.
Have you spoken to Riveron personally, Mickey?
Yeah, look, I'd rather not discuss that. Yeah, I had a conversation with Al. Yes.
As far as some of the Rams players have kind of almost made fun of the fact that the call was blown, do you think that's appropriate in the league, or do you think maybe somebody should reel that in? It's kind of taking a bad situation almost and making it worse.
No, look, listen. Sometimes you benefit from calls. Things go your way. There's nothing wrong with that. That happens. So it's happened to our benefit, and this time it didn't. And so look, they should relish their opportunity to be in the Super Bowl. Look, I read a couple comments. They acknowledged that particular call was a bad call, and so Fuck, they can say whatever they want. That's their right. I don't have any judgment on that.
About two more.
What do you say? What did you say to Sean after the game?
Well, there's nothing you really can say, you know. I think that'll be between us. But he did a fantastic job this season. He's a fantastic coach. He has been for a long time, and he puts his heart and soul into this team. You know, he worked probably harder than I've ever seen him work this season after 12 or 13 years with us, and man, I know how much it meant to him. It means that to all of us, and so I hurt for him too.
How is, not that you're going to talk about your conversation with him, but how is he right now? I mean, is
Yeah.
he bouncing back okay?
I really haven't talked with him much recently, so they're off this week.
Mickey, just one question from the camera guys.
The gallery?
Yeah. Well, you built this roster. What quality do you see in this roster that makes them more going forward, that has confidence going forward?
Yeah, I think, listen, first of all, I didn't build the roster. We built the roster. You know, our coaching staff and our scouts, our personnel department, our ownership. You know, everyone has a hand in determining who's on your team. I just believe in the character, the grit of our guys, the leadership in our locker room. I believe in the urgency our young players have to get better, and their desire to be great players. So look, I just love I love the group, and that's what I believe in. Thank you guys.
Thank you.